This video is to teach everybody how to read music. Specifically, how to read all the signs and symbols that we have in our sheet music. So, if I scroll up, as soon as you open up your part, whatever it may be, I have part 2, which is the clarinet and trumpet part. And for 5-Note Jive, look at the title, we're on Return of the Gladiator. So we're going to scroll down to the second part of that, and that piece is called Hot Cross Beats. So I want to draw your attention, first of all, to the clef right here. We're in treble clef. If you are a trombone player or tuba or baritone, you'd be reading bass clef. And then we have this time signature. We talked about the top number tells you how many beats are in the measure, and the bottom number tells you what kind of note gets the beat. And if we have a 4 there, that means the quarter note gets the beat. So we have our time signature and our clef. And then we also need to pay attention to the key signature. I'm going to go back so that you can see a piece that has a key signature. If you look right after the time signature, you can see that there is no flats and no sharps, which means that clarinets and trumpets are going to play their music with no flats and no sharps. That is their key signature. Now, if I was to look at either a trombone or a flute or bells part, I would notice that right after the clef, I see these 2 flat signs. The first flat sign is on the B line, so that tells me all my B's are going to be flat. And the second one is on the the E space, so that tells me that all the E's are going to be flat. All my B's and E's are flat in this song. So if I look through, I can see here's an E right here. I know to play those E's flat, all of them, really for the entire song. And you don't need to really go through and circle all of them, but some people might even like to draw a small flat sign in front of the note to help you remember. And this is just because we're new to reading music. The more that we read music and practice it, we won't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to erase that, and we're going to move on to another really important thing. And we're going to scroll down to Hot Cross Beats to see the next thing. So in Hot Cross Beats, the first 4 measures are going to be a rest for everybody. And you can see that the composer wrote 1 through 4. I'm going to count as if this was 4 whole rest. So let me draw something, what that would look like. That's not a very good whole rest. Instead of the composer writing all 4 of these whole rest and you counting each one, they just made a shortcut. Okay, so you'll see that happens here. 3 rests there, 4 rests there. Whoops. And even on the second page, we have some more rest as well. 3 rests here. 3 measures of rest, I should say. And then sometimes you have just 1 single measure of rest also. So going back up here, when we have a metronome turned on, we will end up counting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then you would start in measure 5. And you see this box here, we call that a rehearsal number. So anytime you see a rehearsal number, that's a number that if I don't want to start in measure 1, I will call that rehearsal number to help us find a good spot to start all together. And everybody has the same rehearsal numbers in their music. 14, 23, 5, and so on. Now sometimes I might want you to start at a measure that's not one of these big rehearsal numbers. So what I told everybody to do, and if you haven't done this yet, you should go ahead and do it now, is to write in the measure number real small with pencil preferably, or if you are annotating it, then just real small above each measure. So if I know this measure is measure 5 here, the next measure is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and perfect, I did it right because that's 14. And then this 4 tells me that's going to be measure 14, measure 15 is going to happen there, measure 16 is going to happen there, and so is measure 17. Now you don't have to write that because they already did it for you. So this is going to be 18, 19, another multi-measure rest right there, 20 through 22, and then 23 through 26 is here, so I know this is going to be 27, 28, and then I go to the second page, and I have another multi-measure rest, 29 through 31. I have a rehearsal block that's 32. The next measure is 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and I have another checkpoint at 41. I know I'm doing it right so far. 42, 43, 44, 45. Sorry, my handwriting is not great on this iPad. And 47 is my last measure. And everybody's music has the same exact amount of measures in it. We just play at different times. So make sure that you notice that you have 47 measures. And then I'm going to go back up to the beginning, and another important thing that we read are the notes and rhythms, the pitches and rhythms. So hopefully you don't need to, but if for some reason you need to write in some of the note names above or below the notes, then you can do that, okay? But I'm going to skip that part because I know my note names. And I know how to read the rhythms, right? Half notes and half rest and quarter notes, so pretty simple. So there's something new in this that we haven't talked about yet, and I'm going to highlight those. You see some funny looking kind of cursive-y letters throughout your music in this piece, and these are called dynamic markings. Okay, so I have some different dynamic markings. Whoops. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and talk about those different dynamic markings. This F that you see in measure 5, that stands for forte. Forte is an Italian word, and we use that in music to tell us when to play loud. So forte, that equals loud, or strong or powerful, okay? Then if you want to play a little softer than that, we use the word mezzo forte, or MF is the abbreviation for that, M-E-Z-Z-O, forte, and that stands for moderately or medium loud, so a little bit softer than what you just played. And then if we go even softer than that, we have MP, which stands for mezzo piano. We play piano, meaning soft, so that mezzo stands for medium or moderate. Put those two words together and you get medium soft. And then if you play even softer than that, you're going to play piano, which I just told you meant soft. So I've got these in order of loudest to softest so far. You can play even softer than that, and you can play even louder than that, but I'm just going to stop with those 4 dynamic levels because that's what we have so far. We do have an FF there, but we're just going to pretend like that's one F because right now at the beginning of our 6th grade year, those are the dynamics that I like to focus on. Okay, so you've got forte, meaning loud, mezzo forte, medium loud, mezzo piano means medium soft, and piano means soft. So when you see those dynamics, you're going to play and change your volume. And really they last until you see a new dynamic. So measure 5 should be loud, and it should last all the way until you see a new dynamic, which starts in measure 18. And then they did another one in measure 27 for whatever reason. And then we were going to play loud again in 32. So we do want to have some varying degrees of volume as we're playing, because if we played everything loud, then it would tend to get boring. So the last thing I want to show you today when reading music is this final bar line. And this tells us we've reached the end of the song. We have all these other bar lines. That just tells you go to the next measure, right? But when you get to this double bar line with a thick end, that's the end of that song. And there's one of those at the end of each of these pieces. There's one at the end of Jingle Them Bells, and there's one at the end of Return of the Gladiators. If you're still confused about anything that I went over today, please let me know and I will gladly explain it further. Have a great day.